Hey guys, my name is Ray, and today's the day that we have a dope ass preview for you guys. I'm super excited today again to have my boy Tor with me, which was mad fun doing the podcast with him. If you guys haven't, you guys should definitely check it out. But Tor, tell him what's up.
What's going on, guys? Happy to be back. Very excited. Very excited.
I mean, Game of Thrones episode 1 of season 8 was just wow. Yeah. I mean, it was great. So I was like, we got to have Tor on again. We got to talk about a little bit about that episode. Yeah. And I have that in a different video. So we are going to be breaking down the preview trailer and some new images that were just recently released. So Tor, what do you think, or what stood out to you in the preview trailer for episode 2?
The fact that Jaime Lannister is by himself in Winterfell.
Yeah.
With so many people that have a reason to put his head on a spike. Like, wow.
I mean, he definitely has some big cojones for doing that, because let's be honest, not everyone would do that.
Nope.
Especially knowing that you are not keeping up your total end of the bargain by bringing an army with you. You're just like, you're going up shorthanded.
Yeah.
And, they are expecting an army from you. At least Tyrion was, because we saw that Sansa in the previous episode called him out. She said, I thought you were smarter than that, basically. You're not very smart for believing Cersei would help you. Specifically you too, like coming up here. So I think it is interesting that he actually went up there. But I also do think that it shows that he has changed, because I don't believe old Jaime would have done this, because he would have known. Like, we saw what old Jaime did. He fought Ned and then he ran. You know what I mean? So I think that it's interesting that this kind of shows a full
circle return of his character.
Like he came around completely. So it's interesting too. We did see that the cliffhanger we ended on last week was Bran
waiting for his old friend
in the freezing cold. So that was very interesting. I'm curious to see how that ends up playing out. I think that, to be honest, a lot of people have picked up on this, that it seems that probably Bran might be the one to save him in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if you've heard, but since I'm on YouTube all the time, I've heard a lot of people say that Bran in some way or fashion might pardon him, or say that he is needed for the upcoming war. He has to be there or something. Like, he has a bigger role in what's to come.
Yeah, and I mean, and Bran is a three-eyed raven, so he sees past, present, and future, so he knows the idea of what's going to happen. So yeah, if he has a part to play in it, he'll absolutely do something to make sure he's a part of it.
I mean, one thing that I found really interesting about the dynamic of Jaime being in the North is that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So when you look at Jaime, the North hates Jaime and they hate the Lannisters.
Yeah.
The North also dislikes Daenerys and they hate Targaryens.
Yeah.
So it's, at this point, it's like, pick your poison. Which one are you going to go? Like, which way are you going to go? So, like, I believe that maybe Daenerys laying it in hard on Jaime might make the Northerners favor her a little bit more.
Yeah.
But then again, Jaime saved everybody from her crazy-ass daddy. So,
true.
I mean, it should be interesting to see which side the Northerners go on this, and how everybody kind of, goes with it. And another person who I think is being downplayed in this is Brienne. I haven't heard many people talk about Brienne with Jaime's arrival. It should be interesting because we know their relationship.
We do. And we don't think we saw her at all. Maybe like a snippet of her?
No, I don't think she's in the trailer. I didn't see her, so it should be interesting to see how they deal with that relationship and that dynamic right there. But hopefully Tyrion gets into Daenerys' head to chill a little bit on it. It looks like he's on trial in this whole teaser right now.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't look like
Jaime's on trial. Oh, absolutely. Kingslayer killed, was part of Ned Stark's demise, crippled Bran. Think about all the things he's done to the Starks. Just to the Starks.
Into the North in general.
Into the North.
He killed Karl Stark's son.
Yeah.
The whole Catelyn letting him escape thing, that was a big thing that basically made Robb lose the North in a way. So he's a very big figure in the North's hate of the South.
Yeah, like what he did to the Blackfish,
between him and Daenerys, these are like people, and Tyrion, these are people who embody the hate that the North has for the South. So,
absolutely. They represent everything that they don't like about the South.
No, yeah, it should be definitely interesting. I am very curious to see how Jon approaches this, because we did see that Jon learned about his parentage in the last episode, so it should be interesting to see if he listens to what Samuel Tarly was telling him about Daenerys basically being
not the queen,
not the rightful queen, but also, how she approaches people
we
who
talked
don't
about
listen
this.
to her.
Yeah, we talked about this. How she's like, she wants to break the wheel, yet she keeps adding carnage to her trail and conquest to the throne.
I mean, and it's interesting because in the last episode, she was not very sympathetic towards Samuel Tarly. I feel
none.
Like I've seen her more sympathetic towards other people.
Yeah,
but she was none. And I understand that she doesn't feel she did wrong, but I mean, this person gave you Jorah Mormont back, and you took 2 of his family
away.
I did a video on it a while back, and that's basically how I titled it. I was like, he gave and she took.
Yeah.
And that's the way I've always seen it. But I'm very curious to see how Jon in this upcoming episode approaches that information he received, right? He could go 2 ways about it. He could fully embrace it, like Samuel wants him to. And I'm pretty sure that once Sansa, Arya, and all of them figure it out, they might push him to follow his claim, right? Like, to be the person he's supposed to be. But I also believe that Jon and his relationship with Daenerys, it seems like it's something that he might want to keep or maintain. So do you think he'll, in the upcoming episode, tell Daenerys? Because it looks like Daenerys has a couple of shots that she's thinking. She looks like she's kind of dreadful in one, and then it looks like she visits him in the crypts. Do you think that we'll get more of Jon Snow's parentage and a little bit of more build-up on that dynamic between them two in the upcoming episode?
I do. I think Jon's actually going to own it. I really do. I think for the greater good, because I think he's going to realize she has a ruthless side to her. Because Sam said it best. How many times have you shown mercy? And Jon has shown mercy, to people that, quite frankly, probably should have been executed. But he showed that mercy. Daenerys had to be strong-armed into that mercy. And people are telling Jon, you got to kill him. No. We're gonna work this out. It's the opposite with her.
So but to play devil's advocate, though,
go for it.
She did give Randall and Dickon Tarly numerous opportunities. It wasn't like she just burned them. She said, bend the knee, you keep your land and your titles. They said, no, you're not my queen, you're a foreigner. Then Tyrion said, we could send them to the Night's
dungeons.
Watch.
Yeah.
He said, no, you're not my queen, you can't send me there. And then she was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm not doing it. Now, one of the big things I think that people downplay from Jon is that he has the clean, but he has Ned's moral compass. So I think that's what makes him great.
Yeah.
But the thing is that one of the things that we first learn in this show is the man who passes the sentence should swing the sword.
Yeah.
And by Daenerys just saying Dracarys, it's too easy.
Yeah.
Killing people. So I think that this is going to serve her as a lesson throughout the season, to show mercy when mercy is you know what I mean?
I do.
That there's more repercussions to what you do. So
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what happens there. But I'm also curious to see how they receive the news from Tormund that they only have 1 day left, because that is going to be a major thing in the upcoming episode.
Well, when looking at everyone's faces, even when Jaime is here, everyone just looks strung out. You've been told winter is coming, now it's here, and now you get the news of the report of what happened and what they saw, and now it's about to happen. Everyone just looks worn out. And you have to wonder, that's where you're going to see people's true character and true nature come out, when they're absolutely exhausted. Who's going to choose their side and who they're going to believe in because they're exhausted. And there's this fight that's going to be, quite frankly, I think very emotional. Very emotional.
I mean, it's going to be interesting because at some point, I believe during the fight, we're going to see people who are alive as whites.
Yeah.
We'll see them reanimated, right?
Yeah.
So I think it should be very interesting to see how the living deal with that. But just the news of that crazy design that the Night King and the White Walkers did with little Ned Umber. Yeah. To me, that was insane. I remember seeing that.
That's a taste of things to come.
I know. I'm yo.
Teaser. Yeah.
Mantrader did say it. They are ever the artists.
Yeah.
They're very into their freaky designs. I'm curious as to the message that they're trying to send. Is it just scaring them? Is it something more specifically? Because we have seen that same design has been when they created the White Walkers.
It's been in the trees. It's been in the stones. It's been in the horses and the Night's Watch that were slain.
Exactly.
That spiral we've seen, and then the cave drawing. I think right.
It was in the cave drawings as well. So it is interesting that we should see, where they're going with all this, what some of these designs and these symbols mean. I'm very curious to see how, not just Jon and Daenerys, because Jon and Daenerys, since Jon is riding Rhaegal, it seems like he might have an active role in fighting maybe with the Night King and the dragons and stuff. I think that that's going to happen. But I'm interested in seeing how these other people who are not warriors, like a Sansa, let's say, for example, a Missandei. We see a lot of Gilly in those images that were just released. I wonder what these certain characters will be bringing to the table, or if anything, they will bring anything. Like, for example, Missandei, Sansa. Like, Missandei's a secondary character, of course, but, I mean, we haven't seen or heard anything from Melisandre either. And Melisandre said she will come back. So I wonder if she's, like, coming with the fiery hand, if she's, like, coming with some super magic concoction or something for the Night King. Like, what are these characters that have been downplayed? Like Samwell Tarly. What are they bringing to the table? Yeah. What do you think we might get in this episode to set any of that up?
You know, it's exactly like I said before. You know, it's pulling you in one direction. Like, now the battle is on us, but we're not aware of what's going to happen, and we don't know what we don't know, which I love about this show. The thing about the dragons, I don't want to digress, but like when he and Daenerys are together with the two dragons, and the way he's looking at the dragon, I said to my wife, I'm like, you know, I wouldn't. She's like, why is she looking at me like that? Like, well, I think the dragon is protecting her. I'm like, are you sure? I think the dragon is protecting him
from Daenerys.
Yeah, because if it recognizes that Targaryen blood, and he has, you know, that.
It's interesting you bring it up because
I think the dragons might change alliances.
Because from what I've seen so far, it looks like on the TV show it is very different from the TV show, and the books are very different in this. And it's that in the books it seems that a dragon bonds to an individual, through that individual's lifetime. So like once the human dies, that bond or that imprint is broken, and then they can have another writer after that. But they are very loyal to like one writer per like person, and it has to have like Valyrian or Targaryen blood. So it is interesting that in this episode we see that Rhaegal, who is named after Rhaegar, his father, basically has like an affection or an affinity towards Jon, like a certain bond.
That look he's giving is
I'm like, did he imprint in Jon
already?
Like what is it? So it should be interesting to me, maybe in the next episode, or maybe even in episode 3, the big battle, to see if Rhaegal maybe is like, I don't fuck with Daenerys anymore. I'm with Jon, or I belong to Jon now. Yeah. That, to me, that would be very interesting. Especially, let's say, for example, if Daenerys is in battle and Jon is in battle and Drogon were to die, and then Rhaegal imprinted on, let's say, for example, a Jon, would he listen to Daenerys after that? Would Jon be the one with the big power behind him now? The F-16?
I got the juice.
Like, so to me, I'm very curious as to see how that ends up playing out in this episode and in episode 3 and 4 and whatever remains of the series, because it is a big thing, and whoever has a dragon has the power. Yeah. You could have as many people as you want, but that one dragon nullifies everything. So I'm very curious as that. So I wanted to dig into these photos and talk about some of these pictures and some of these images that we have, because they are interesting, to say the least, some of them. And some of them are not, but let's dig right into it. So first off, let's dig into the little bear. We saw that the little bear was brutal with Jon Snow last season.
As to be expected.
It's not important.
Not important? We named you King in the North.
And to be honest, I'm gonna keep it 100. In the breakdown, when we talk about episode 1, you know, we have information on the first episode, but to keep it a little bit vague here, the little bear laid it in, and she, I think, was in her right. They named him king, and Jon shouldn't have known. He didn't have to kneel to Daenerys at that point. She had already committed her army. I'm interested in seeing what she's going to bring to the battle, because she's insisting in fighting. So hopefully, you know, she's okay, but she looks all armored out. What do you think about this image of the little bear?
She's tough as nails. I mean, she's had to be at a young age. So you're seeing right now a child, the product of war, because everyone in her house is dead, and she's had to assume the responsibility of her house. I mean, so she's gonna have a rigid, no BS, front, you know, straight viewpoint, and she'll call you on it. And I like that.
One thing about this image is you see her standing in front of like older men and lords. It's like she stands above all of them and she's just a child. So it's not even because she's a girl to me. It's just because she's a child. So it's like you wouldn't expect that, but there she is, you know what I mean? In front, taking the lead in charge and everything.
I love the bear on her shoulder too. Going forward.
It should be extremely interesting to see her and maybe Jorah Mormont in this episode. I would like to see that.
Because they are family. And she's not, but she's gonna like, you were a slave.
They're basically first cousins. So it should be interesting to see how that ends up playing out and everything.
Yeah.
We get this image of Sansa. I've seen this image of Sansa in the past. I knew it was from this episode when I got it. I'm just interested in seeing what the hell she has here. Is this a bowl, like a bread bowl?
That's what I was thinking, a bread bowl. I was like, it is a bread bowl. Looks good. It looks good.
I'm like, what is she doing out? It's as we saw, they are prepping for the Night King. They said that they're going to be here before the sun comes out again. So we know that they arrive at the night because we saw the hoofs of the dead horse.
That's right.
So we know they're coming at the night.
It's going to be emotional.
Could you imagine it ends right there with the hooves again? The episode ends with that when they arrive?
Now I would be upset because I know people weren't thrilled with the first episode. I personally liked it. I liked seeing the chess pieces in place. But if you do that, Ray, this is just me saying, I hope they don't Soprano it. With that Sopranos ending.
I've never seen the Sopranos.
Oh, save yourself the heartache and don't even bother. Because the ending just breaks your heart because you're like, I invested all this time.
What, it was just a dream?
No, it faded out. They're in a diner and you're left to, oh, were they killed? They weren't killed? Or was it a dream? No. End it.
Is this life continues? Just like
they're surrounded. There's people walking. You're assuming it's a hit. They're gonna take out everyone, but you don't see it, and then it just goes to black.
Oh no, that's.
And I was at a Sopranos party, and everyone thought our cable went out. No, that's how it ended. So I really hope they did not do this. I really hope that would. Just, there's only 6 episodes, right? Like, come on, do it.
I think we'll have a definitive ending.
I hope.
Here we have our boy Grey Worm and Missandei.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's breaking up with her. Like, to me, I'm joking.
No, yeah.
But it looks like it's a serious conversation. Like probably if shit hits the fan, you gotta go. Like, you know what I mean? Don't stay here. If you gotta head out, run. Like, this is dangerous or whatever. Or her maybe like, you know, sweetening him up before battle. And he's like, I'm not scared. I'm Grey Worm, whatever. You know how he talks?
No. I mean, they're foreigners in the north. You know, so
I felt a certain way the way people in the north were looking at me.
Right?
I was like, is it because they're black? I was like, no, let's be real. I was like, is it because they're black?
I was like, I wonder what Ray's gonna say.
I was like, is it because they're black? I said it in my reaction. I was like, is it because they're black? I've never seen black people. Like, what the fuck?
I was like, I
felt offended by this shit.
You know, I did too. I'm like, why are they grilling them so hard?
I'm like, yo,
hide the silver.
This is how I feel when I go into certain neighborhoods. I'm like, this is fucked up shit, man. For real, man. They did them dirty, man. I was like, what the hell, man? That shit was messed up.
It was.
That was definitely. Oh, we see Gilly for the first time. I found it so interesting we didn't see Gilly at all.
Yeah.
And it was funny that Sam, when he sees John is like, were you hiding from me?
Yeah.
I think he was, because like, he didn't want to tell him too, because that was so weird that he wasn't there when they arrived at Winterfell. Yeah, everybody knows that they arrived.
It must have been a couple days, right? You know,
no, I mean, it looked like it was the day, like the one day it seemed. Or to me, but we see Gilly here in this image. We see a bunch of food and like, you know, the mugs in the back.
Bread and ale.
Yeah, it looks like she might be, you know, dealing in the kitchens, helping out with, you know, feeding all those armies.
Yeah, the Dothraki
and those people, and all that stuff.
North armories.
So it should be interesting. Hell, even our guy Davos is here with the soup.
Everyone's cooking.
What did you say? Onion soup?
Before I read the captions, I'm like, there he is working on his onion soup.
Yeah, no, definitely. So he probably feeding some people some onion soup. It's interesting, you know what I mean? Davos, a man in his position, he still has to do the little work. Everybody, I mean, he keeps saying he's not a fighter, so he has to do something. Everybody has to carry their weight in this. Then we see our boy Tyrion, and it's interesting because Tyrion seems that he needs to be drinking. When he's with Daenerys, he's sober and he does stupid shit. He does not know anything when he's not drinking.
I made the observation, not to get too deep into it, but episode 1, like, he slowly looks like he's checking out.
Yeah.
You know, he really looks like
they're setting him up for something.
Yes, they really are.
Like Bran looking at him the way he did. It was like, I remember Littlefinger getting that look in season 7.
And I'm like,
so to me, it should be very interesting to see what ends up happening there. We saw Bran give him the look.
Yeah.
The North does not like Lannisters.
No.
it should be interesting to see what happens there. What his deal was with Cersei.
I can see him reevaluating his position. You know, like with her, with Jon, Cersei,
he can't
Jaime.
Go if he betrays this side, he can't go to the next side either.
Yeah, he's screwed. So he's on the side that he's on right now. I love Bran.
I'm curious though. Looking at this image, do you think that Bran and Tyrion are in the same room?
You would think that.
Because of the lighting.
Because of the lighting, and they're having a conversation. Or is Tyrion just gazing into the fire? Maybe he sees something in the fire now. Maybe something's being spoken to him.
I mean, with Bran, you just don't know.
Yeah.
He said it. He said it this season with the when Jon sees him. He's like, "You're almost a man." He's like, "Almost."
Almost.
Like, you know, like that was weird.
Yeah. Well, he's not Bran anymore. He's a three-eyed raven.
He's a three-eyed raven now. So now he doesn't like Bran anymore.
No.
The name. We see our boy Samwell Tarly and Jon looking at Jon at least. I think that this is the same scene where they're like setting up strategy for how they're going to approach things and the army of the dead. It's interesting because Samwell Tarly was laying it kind of thick on Daenerys with the whole, you know, you should be king and this and that. I'm curious to see, like I said earlier,
that was emotional though.
He was upset at the moment
because you saw like when he got the news of his father, he was like, okay, you know, his father was a dick. Yeah, he was like, but then, you know, just a wonderful performance by Sam. It's like to see that reaction when you lose your brother. Like
it was that hit him. He hit a 5.
Yeah,
he hit a 5, and then he was like, "Oh well, my dad was a piece of shit to me.
But my brother, he'll take care of the house.
At least my brother could take care of my mom, or like, you know, like in his mind, he's probably thinking." And then he's like, "Yo, these women, the women in my house are all by themselves now.
Yep.
You burned my brother, my family name, like all of this."
Yeah.
And he thinks that he's still in the Night's Watch. Like he didn't ask for a pardon to be released of his vow, or anything. He was like, you know what? I just want to basically live, you know, without this crime over my head.
Yeah.
And that's it. He was cool with whatever, but it's interesting to me to see what ends up happening with Sam and Daenerys, because I think that should change pretty soon.
I think it's already.
I think after this, it'll change, because even though he was upset, he was very formal. He was like, "Pardon."
He was holding it back.
Yeah, he was.
Because he's been holding it back his whole life.
Yeah, so he was very smart to do that.
Agreed.
Because then, like, you never know. Jon seems very smitten with Daenerys.
Yeah,
I don't know if he would have chosen Sam over Daenerys at this point. Because Jon to me seems a little bit blinded. I think that's why the North has picked up on a little bit.
Well, yes, because he is taken by Daenerys, and he's kind of, like you said, love, duty, the sacrifice there. We're starting to see that thread being pulled hard.
Yeah. And we see this image here of Varys and Daenerys and Jorah.
Yeah.
And I think they're at the same like war council or whatever, just prepping things for, you know, the pending battle, the upcoming battle.
It's funny. I think this is where Sam might be telling her, "You're not the queen. Jon is the king."
Nah, you think?
I would say, you know, because he's emotional, and this is someone that killed your father and your brother without hesitating.
I think she finds out this episode. I think this
screenshot is it, and everyone's like, Varys, you can just see, he's like, really?
I mean, in the trailer, in the preview trailer, we do see that she looks at one point like she closes her eyes. I think that there she found out that, you know, Jon is who he is.
Yeah.
I think that also in this episode we did see in the preview that Jorah gets Heartsbane, the sword that Sam took from his father. So that should also be interesting and play an interesting role, I think.
It will.
I'm just very interested in seeing how Sansa, Daenerys, and Arya feel the
Sansa,
because I think that the tension is going to be a
problem.
There is very high tension with Daenerys and Sansa. That scene, when Sansa's like, "How are we going to defeat the greatest army?" Whatever, and then she's like, "And what do dragons eat?" And she's like, "Whatever they want."
Well, I ensured our stores would last through winter. I didn't account for Dothraki, Unsullied, and 2 full-grown dragons. What do dragons eat, anyway?
Whatever they want.
Yeah.
I'm like, I will feed you to my dragons, bitch.
My wife said to me, no house is big enough for 2 women, let alone 2 queens.
No, yeah.
So it's not going to fly. And Sansa's going to be a problem.
I don't think she's going to be a problem, per se. I think that she is making things harder for Jon when she shouldn't. But
that's the problem.
I think that Jon, but to be honest, though, I think that Jon needs that. Because at the end of the day, when you look at Jon's character and his arc, he pushes power away. But something is pushing him towards it. And accommodating events in history in this world to make him king.
Yeah.
And he does not want to be that.
Yeah.
So
He's
it really makes you wonder.
It or not.
Yeah, it makes you really wonder if he is going to end up being king, because everything pushes him towards it, and it's like his destiny, it looks like.
But what's frustrating is that, you have this battle coming. Let's figure out who's going to be the king if we're still around. Like, everyone's still holding on to this old world idea. We're about to be ushered into a new world, and you're about to get curb stomped. Like, I really do think they're going to get the crap kicked out of them. And you're worried about who's your king, who you're like. No, right now, and I think this is why the battle's going to happen this episode, is because you're going to have to then have them see, wow, this threat is legit. John, our bad. You warned us. Whatever you need, now you've got it. And then that's going to kind of put everybody and give them some humility or hubris. It's just frustrating. Everyone's still talking about king. You have this amazing threat coming.
I mean, one thing that I was very curious. It looks like at one point we're going to see in the preview, at least we saw Sansa and Daenerys talking to each other, and it looks like they're going to be in the library together. I'm curious to see if they, by this episode, which I think will happen. I think by this episode they'll have fixed their issues. They won't be bickering anymore as they were in the previous episode, or going at each other. It looks like
you would hope so. Yes, you would hope so.
By the end of it, I think it'll be solved.
And I would like to see that. Like, just me speaking as an observer, I would love to see that happen.
Because it seems like they find a common enemy in Cersei. With
and the Night King.
Yeah, and the Night King. But I mean, specifically, it looks like they both do not like Cersei a lot, so it looks like that might bring them together. The hatred of Cersei right now. So I'm curious to see what happens there. And like I said, in the preview, it looks like Tyrion has this very ominous shot. And I'm curious to see what happens there. Will he betray them in this episode? Will he set something up? Like, will he fuck up? Just due to the simple fact that we know Arya's a lie detector and Bran can see everything.
Yeah.
Whatever he does, he will screw up.
It's funny. I got the sense like it was a moment of PTSD. From the Battle of Blackwater, when Cersei tried to kill him, and then he got slashed in the face. Like, he might be having that moment of PTSD, seeing this amazing army that no one has ever seen, and now here it is at your doorstep, and that's either. There is no running away. Like, you're there now to combat that. There's no running away. So I think that's kind of that fight or flight. And I don't think he's drunk enough to deal with it.
All right. So next up, we have Jon Snow and Arya. Like I said, these three women are going to be involved, it seems, in everything, because they are heads of houses.
Yeah. Like
the big houses that are here. One interesting thing that I've also picked up on is that Edmure Tully isn't here. They had like this leak HBO thing where it said the cast, and it said that Edmure would be here. It also said that Robb and Aaron would be in the first episode, and as I didn't recall seeing any of them in that episode.
I didn't see them either.
So basically, the Starks, Targaryens, and the Lannisters are the biggest houses in the North right now. I'm curious to see who really has the power in this. Like, who is going to be the military mind? Because yes, Jon Snow is a warrior, but will Daenerys put her soldiers at Jon's disposal? Like, will he be giving the orders?
And that depends if the revelation is made of who he is.
No, yeah, because that is
she might not be quick to.
Yeah, that's
all of a sudden, you know what? We're gonna get out of here.
it might be an issue later down the line, because when you really look at it, is Jon Snow like being who he says he is, and will this kind of make her take a step back and not want him to ride a dragon? Would it make her not? Because
like you said before, if the dragon bonded, maybe she doesn't have a say anymore.
Maybe she doesn't have a say. And not only that, to me it'll be interesting if also, let's say for example, it'll be interesting if Jon Snow and Daenerys, their like story arcs have been them going throughout life, earning people's trust and earning people over, winning
their
people
trust
over.
Or respect.
And it should be interesting if Daenerys puts Jon ahead of his army, and then they're like, yeah, Daenerys is special, but guess what? Jon Snow is even more special.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see if that ends up playing out, and how like a Grey Worm and all of these other people take orders from him, and how well Jon Snow sets everything up. Because at the end of the day, I feel that they're going to lose their first battle.
I think they're going to get smoked.
I think they're going to get it. So I think that their first strategy is going to be horrible. They're going to lose so badly.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how that ends up playing out, all of it. We have another image of Jaime. We talked already at Jaime. We see all the Stark men behind them because it seems like it is a Stark affair.
It is.
We see Daenerys, and
I think she's maybe talking with Sam, trying to make some sort of peace and maybe not apologize, but because I don't think she's sorry for her actions because she's got a very clear goal. So it's tough for her to be apologetic. But I think she's potentially just talking with him.
Yes, she is in the library here.
Yeah.
She is in the library.
Which is where Sam hangs out.
But I do know for a fact that in this episode, Sansa and her will be in the library because I've seen some previous images. So I think that in this scene, she's talking with Sansa. I'm not sure. This could be two separate library scenes because they're all at Winterfell. Let's be honest. So eventually they will be bumping into each other a lot. So I think that she might be talking with Sansa. I think this is a scene where she talks about you trusting Cersei and, oh no, you should have never trusted Cersei, whatever. I think that that's basically what's happening in this scene right here. We have Bran at the Weirwood.
I like to call it the Giving Tree.
The Giving Tree. It gives his red leaves and creepy nightmares on the face on the tree.
Yeah.
I'm curious, with the dead so close, I'm curious to see where Bran is going to be during this episode.
Because he probably knows what's
going to
happen.
Last episode, he was just at the yard. He's wherever he is, he's there for a reason because he sees something's happening or he's onto something. So Bran's whole arc throughout this whole, last season should be interesting. It probably might be the most important story arc of all of them.
Absolutely.
Then we have this beautiful shot of Samwell Tarly, Gilly, and Little Sam. And boy, oh boy, finally, Little Sam looks like a kid. Like, he looks like he's growing up. It's not like some, little baby that... Because before, everybody used to freak out. They were like, why doesn't this baby age? Is there something weird with the baby? Why? People were making theory videos about the baby not aging because it was just a weird-ass thing. But basically, those are all the images. So, before we head out of this preview for episode 2, Tor, what is your hot topic prediction? What is the one thing the internet will go ablaze with your prediction? That one thing that you're like, that's wild.
Wild prediction. That Sam kills Daenerys.
No, that shit would be wild.
You said wild prediction. Who would see that coming? You get so overtaken by... Because think about it. What happens to those people that hold back emotion after year after year after year? An abusive relationship with his father, abusive relationship at the Watch where they tried to actually kill him. And now you have this person who killed the last person that you kind of liked in your family. And now you're have to support her when you know there's a better alternative right next to you and your best friend Jon. Would it be easier just to murk her out? Or Bran eats it.
Bran dies?
Yeah.
Before the war?
Before the war.
Damn, that would be... Nah, I doubt it. I doubt that. Just because I think that he... But, I mean, it does sound crazy enough that you will get some people telling you you're wrong.
Yeah.
So, let me... I was going to go safe but crazy, but damn.
I think we're all in at this point. Chips are all in.
I mean, I think that in the upcoming episode, we will see Tyrion finally begin to start his treason against Daenerys.
You called that.
I think that he will, in this episode, start to pull through and see, you know what I mean? I think that he is going to start putting things in motion to abort or jump ship on Daenerys once he starts seeing shit hit the fan, because he is in the battlements and it looks very ominous to me. Mm-hmm. And why put that in the trailer it's the last thing? You know what I mean?
He might just easily just see the battle big. I'm gonna get out of here. Just walk away.
I'm done. I'm over it. Yep. So I could definitely see it going very crazy. But it looks like by the end of the episode, the Army of the Dead will almost be at Winterfell.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited. I'm super hype. I am super duper 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 worried that we will end on a cliffhanger, with the hooves, kind of in the trailer.
Yeah.
But hopefully not. Hopefully we end on a good note, and we get all the information to all our answers before this big war coming up.
Yeah.
But I'm super glad to have you on, Tor. Thanks for coming on the channel again. Everybody show some love to Tor in the comments and down below. Tor, you want to say anything to everybody before we head out?
No, I'm just enjoying it. I really think, though, Raven, that the easy part was the first episode. I think it's going to be a nonstop roller coaster from here on out. like you're going to beg them to just slow down and stop and let me process the feels, because the feels are going to be real and they're going to keep coming, and it's going to be a waterfall, and it's not going to stop until the very end.
I mean, it will be crazy. I'm pretty sure it will be insane.
I'm preparing myself.
I'm worried. I'm a little bit worried. I ain't gonna lie. But like I said, guys. Also, if you guys haven't, you guys could check out my Instagram, Rayz the Alba, Facebook, all that good stuff. You can follow me there. As always, guys, it's a true pleasure. My name is Ray, and peace.